Motherhood. 1 minute, you're mom of the year.
I love you, Mommy.
Then the next, not so much. From bath time to bullying, from potty training to puberty, parenting is full of challenges. But one thing is for certain, you are not alone. Welcome to Modern Mom Probs. I'm your host, author, mother, parenting expert, Tara Clark. Join me while we tackle today's modern mom problems. Welcome back to another episode of Modern Mom Probs. I'm your host, Tara Clark. If you like what we're doing here, be sure to subscribe and leave us a rating. Today, we're going to be talking about authentic motherhood and personal development. I'm joined by my friend, Iesha Madden. She is a mom and wife, and when she's not teaching as a profession, she's creating content for her Instagram account, More Than a Mama series. She loves building community with others by being her most authentic self and sharing the good and bad parts of life. She's passionate about moms being seen and heard and being able to choose what works best for them. Iesha, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so excited for you to be here. We've been friends on Instagram, I feel like for years.
It's been a while.
I was going to say, it's been a long time. I almost don't even remember where it all started. So tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, hi everyone. My name's Iesha. I started the account that I have on Instagram during the pandemic. I became a mom during the pandemic. Everything shut down in March. I had my son in June, and I just was really lonely. I mean, especially being isolated at the time. So I am big on community. I'm a ambivert, I guess we could say now, but I was always an extrovert. I always loved people. That hasn't changed. And I just had a feeling deep in my heart that, there's somebody else out there feeling the way that I'm feeling. And so I want to let them know that they're not alone, because I felt alone in some cases and I didn't want anybody else to feel that way. I am a teacher. I've always loved kids. Even when I was a kid, I've liked to teach and be around kids. And so I am passionate about educating the next generation, raising up my own children. Yeah, it's all about the kids with me, but it's also all about the moms at the same time. So, yeah.
Yeah. I love your community. You have such an engaged community of people. I started my account for a similar reason too. I was living in New York City at the time, and although this was 10 years ago and not during the pandemic, I was living in New York City at the time, and I was very lonely because new motherhood can be very lonely. And here I am in this massive city with no real mom friends to speak of. I had some friends from my son's daycare, so those were like my new mom friends. But overall, I said, where can I get more information about being a mom? Where can I connect with people like me? And so that's how I started my Instagram account. So I'm so glad that people are using Instagram to connect and so that other mothers don't feel alone.
For sure. Definitely.
So one of your messages on your account and just in life is be your most authentic self and your people will find you then. And I feel like that phrase gets tossed around a lot, especially on social media. Everyone's like, you got to be authentic. You got to be your authentic self. And it's like, okay, but what does that mean?
Mm-hmm. So I think first you need to discover in your heart of hearts, outside of everyone's opinions or expectations, what are your core values? What is something? So I would first start off with, what is something that you're truly passionate about? What is something that excites you? If someone asks about it, you just can't stop talking about it. You just can't stop coming back to that point of how much you love that thing. And so being your authentic self means finding out truly who you are. What do you like? What do you dislike? Just asking yourself a lot of those hard questions that maybe you haven't asked because you have, in a sense, tried to meet others' expectations of what you're supposed to be. And that's a little bit of a tricky place to be in because, and I can speak from experience that throughout my life, I've tried to please other people. I've tried to meet their expectation till it became a couple of years ago that I finally discovered, well, what do I had to ask, what do you want, Iesha? Aside of what everybody else thinks you are and what you're good at and all that, what do you want? And when it comes to friendship and connecting with people, although being authentic and honest about my thoughts was hard, I've always been met with so much more of a belonging when I talk to people, so much more of a I understand. And that's brought me closer to people by just saying exactly how I feel, by portraying my 100% exposed self. And so that's what I mean by that. We have to ask ourselves the hard questions, but we also have to put forward what we're trying to portray. What is it that I like? What's hard for me right now? And I try to do that as much as possible. And as I said, it's only met with, I understand, like you spoke to me. I needed this today. And even though I'm shaking, like, should I post this? Should I even, expose myself like this? I hit the share button anyway, because I know somebody, even if it's just one person, that's enough for me. Somebody's going to resonate with this. And every time, without fail, does.
Yeah. Yeah. It's difficult to put yourself out there publicly
Yes.
and say, I struggle with this, or I have had a really hard time with that. And how do you get the courage to do that?
I'm just going to be honest and say I don't always have the courage. I have the courage to record. I have the courage to create the nice carousel. I have the courage to actually do that because I haven't exposed myself just yet. It could be like a video diary or just a memory at that point. So I think I pushed myself. And one of the things that I started out with my page is to do it scared. I didn't even want to start the page. I was just like, who do you think you are starting an Instagram page? Like, are you crazy? Like, what's going to happen? But then I was like, no, some inkling in me tells me, just do it anyway. Just do it. You're scared. And this is like your defense mechanism. Like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do it. Maybe this is too much. I don't really want to share this, but I'm like, okay. I don't give myself too much time to ruminate over it as well. I don't let it like go days. Like, so usually if it comes to me, I create it and then I post it. I don't care what time it is. Like, I'm usually just like, I don't have time to like simmer with this because I could talk myself out of it. So I post and panic.
Yeah.
that's my vibe.
That sounds real familiar. I have a tendency to overthink everything.
Yes.
And so it's like, if I put this out here, what's that going to say? And what's that going to, what people are going to say, or what are they going to comment on? And I find that for me, it's easier to be my authentic self in interviews like this, in real conversations that are, 30 minutes long versus a 7-second clip where people may not understand the entire context or know who I am as a person. And so that's where I really get so hung up about being my authentic self. Because here with you right now, I am my authentic self. But when you have 7 seconds to throw that out to the world and not everyone knows who you are or what your background is or anything like that, then like that's, it's really, really scary sometimes.
For sure. Definitely.
Right?
I can attest. Yeah.
Well, that's all part of it. I think with being a content creator is that you're trying to put yourself out there, but also in a way that doesn't seem performative.
Yes.
Because there is definitely a very big part of social media that is performative. Oh, we're taking these pictures for that reason, or we're going to the pumpkin patch, to get the photos and all of that. And so you straddle a fine line between doing things because you genuinely want to do them and that is who you are and what your family is about, versus to, in an effort to perform for your audience. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So Iesha, you were saying that values really dictate how you show up and how you show up as your authentic self. And I love that you really pinpointed that, because for me with Modern Mom Probs and the work I do both here on the podcast and on the Instagram account, I've always been about community. I've always been about sharing people's stories. I've always been about lifting everyone up together, because I have always said that the tide rises all boats. And from the day that I started the account up until, 6 years later, here we are still doing it. And I think it's so important to give everyone credit, maybe not everyone in the world, but to give people credit where credit is due, and to bring up people who have a unique perspective and who have a unique story to tell. And I think community is at the very heart of who I am as a person and the work that I do.
For sure. Definitely. And I see that. I see how you are just really promoting other moms, other people who are trying to do and strive to, do what you're doing as well. I think that's why I appreciate you for being so authentic in that way, because, in social media, sometimes it could be like, oh, it's all about me. What content can I put out? Look at me. Look what I'm doing. And it's never been that with you. I've found and discovered so many other accounts just by following you, because you're not afraid to put other women on. And we need to see more women supporting women, moms supporting moms. That's what we're about around here, for sure.
I love makeup. It's the one thing that makes me feel put together. My hair can be a disaster and I could be wearing sweatpants and a hoodie, but I love having my makeup on. Everyone has their own thing, right? I recently started using Mommy Makeup, a brand specifically designed for busy moms like us. Their products are talc-free, paraben-free, and made in the USA. Using the Mommy Makeup system, you could have flawless makeup in 6 minutes. I use their Mommy's Little Helper Concealer, the smudge-proof Anywhere Cream, Stay Put Gel Eyeliner, and Mascara. And of all of their amazing products, my favorite might be the Triple Sticks Lipstick and Cream Blush. These conditioning pencils are lipstick, cream blush, and treatment all in one, which is a huge time saver for me in the morning. Mommy Makeup even offers free color consultations, so you could find the best colors for you. Head over to mommymakeup.com and use my special promo code, MOMPROBS, to receive 20% off. That's MOMPROES to get 20% off.
Absolutely. And that's the thing too. It's like, I, from day one, have always said that Modern Mom Probs is not the Tara Clark show. In fact, like, I cringe at thinking at how it has even like sort of evolved to be more like that, because I'm like, no, it's not about me. It's never been about me. It's about the modern mom problems that we're trying to come up with solutions for, right? That has always been what it's about. And it's about that digital village that we've created together, that I'm so happy that you're part of my digital village and I'm part of your digital village. And so that we can share ideas and, be our authentic selves together. But I think community is at the heart of
Yes,
it. At least for me, and everyone is different, right? Because everyone has their own self to manage and to think through. But I think it's so important that we, continue to share each other's stories and continue to share each other's work, because that's how people get discovered. Like you said, you found so many accounts through my account, and I do that on purpose. I do that because I want people to get out there. They work hard, they're at home recording their children, their everyday life. They're doing all of the content creation to tell their story and their own narrative of motherhood. And if it makes sense and if it fits with what we're about here, then of course I'm going to share that.
Yeah. It's a no-brainer. I feel the same way.
Yeah. No, I think it's so important. So how does being one's authentic self lead to personal development?
So I think I was thinking about that question, actually, and I'm glad you asked it because it's really thought-provoking. So I think when you're trying to figure out, like, who am I? Another question you need to ask is, what type of person do I want to be? And if there's people, I guess, out there, or there's books or podcasts or anything else out there that will help you to get to where you want to be, then you use those things as resources for you to become your authentic self. So I said a whole mouthful. So let's just simplify it by this, and saying that who you want to be, there are steps you can take in who you want to be. You won't just happen to wake up tomorrow and say, oh, I just have great habits and everything is perfect if I just want to have better habits. It doesn't happen instantaneously. You have to read. You have to learn and glean from other people who have really good habits. Who do you envision, like, when habits come to mind, who's the first person that comes to your mind? You probably need to follow them or read something that they've written or listen to their podcast, see what they have to say. And then you pick and choose from, because there's so much information out there. You have to pick and choose what really resonates and what really sits on your heart the best way. And so whether that's habits, whether that's self-care, whether it's boundaries, so many of these really hot topics right now. But what about your boundaries are important? Who do you need to create boundaries with? Is it yourself? Because sometimes we need to create boundaries with ourselves. Sometimes we need to be more disciplined, right? This year, my word is discipline, because I know I don't have any. So am I just going to look within myself, like force myself to be disciplined? Or am I actually going to find people who are disciplined? Am I going to find like a roadmap to teach me how to be a disciplined person? Am I going to find like a step-by-step guide that helps me? Or relying on myself is not really going to get me to where I want to be. And so that's where the personal development comes in, because you almost are in a searching journey to try to be who you want to be, because it's not going to just happen. You have to move, you have to do, you have to search and then figure out, okay, I like that. Let me try to add that to my life. And you come up with your own plan and you come up with your own roadmap to success, whatever that is for you.
Yeah. Have you read the book Atomic Habits? It's really good. I highly recommend it.
I'm actually reading it with a friend right now. So yeah, I just got the book from a friend. I don't know what chapter I'm on. I think like 5. So yeah, I got that. I kind of got that from that book. That's why I'm kind of like talking about that, because you really have to do things. I think we make habits a lot bigger than what they are. We just really have to set ourselves up to be successful and not have such high expectations for ourselves. Like we can go and be like, I need to work out. So every day next week, I'm going to hit the gym, 5 a.m. Let's do it. That's not, at least for me, that's not attainable. It's not something where I can like actually, it feels intimidating. It causes me to freeze. But if I'm like, okay, for 3 days, any 3 days during this week, I'm going to start stretching before I go to bed. That seems a little bit more attainable than the everyday 5 a.m. I'm at this place. So yeah, making it manageable for you, but also not too easy that you're just like, I didn't do anything, but giving you some satisfaction.
I think I'm going to start doing that stretching before bedtime thing, because
yeah.
I need to get on top of that. I'm sort of that all or nothing workout person. And right now I'm doing nothing. And so I need to be doing something. And maybe the stretching is that something.
Yeah. And then it could compound, right? So then I'm stretching now before bed, but then maybe now, I don't know, after that, you may feel like you have like energize yourself enough that maybe you want to work out right after stretching, or maybe not. Like you kind of figure out, but once we get into motion, that's just the most important part, that we actually do something. And the stretching before bed, shout out to my husband. He gave me the idea. So he does that every night.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. That's impressive.
He's very disciplined. He's yeah. He's my good example.
Yeah, I hear you, because my husband's a similar way. Just the other day, I found a Post-it note in our bathroom, and he had it like next to the sink, and it said, "Do 20 push-ups when you're waiting for the water to warm up." And he's meaning in the shower, like before he gets in the shower, he's telling himself to do 20 push-ups, and I was like, good for him.
Yeah, and it's right there. Did he read Atomic Habits? Because that sounds like very Atomic Habit like.
I think he's reading it right now, actually.
Yeah, see? it makes you want to do something. Like, so that's what we're going back to. Like, once you read something, you're like, oh, that's attainable. Let's do it. Like, it motivates me to just get up and do something. Like, move. This is what you want to do. Start slow, but start.
Yeah. Just start doing it. You recently had a post that said 5 things I used to be proud of that I am no longer proud of. I want to dive into those. So what are those 5 things?
Yeah. This is very interesting, because I did not expect it to resonate with people so much, but I'm glad it did. So the first thing I said was always being there for everyone. The second one is keeping the peace. The third one is not asking for much. The fourth is making other people happy. And the fifth is putting myself last.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, were you raised to be a people pleaser? Because
Yes.
I feel like that's giving people pleasing vibes.
It's very much giving people pleasing vibes. Yep, that's exactly what that is.
Yeah, I feel that. I felt when I saw that post and then I saw how it resonated with so many people, I was like, oh, she's like struck a nerve here.
Yeah.
Like you really, going back to like authentic selves, I think so many of us, for whatever reason, were raised to be people pleasers. And so here we are as adults trying to undo that and put in the hard work so that we can put ourselves first and that we're not shrinking, being small, being invisible, and always constantly serving others at the detriment of our own well-being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It was, yeah. I really felt that because in my heart of hearts, like, I really felt like those things were good. Like, oh, I'm just gonna make sure everybody's happy and I'm not gonna ask for anything. Like, I'm just going to, but as you said, it just caused me to be invisible. Like me, Iesha, not the Iesha that they wanted me to be. To the point that, like, just now, like maybe in the past recent years, am I really discovering and taking the time to realize who I am outside of people approval, who I am, just who I am, instead of, and then, yeah, it was a whole nother thing of me thinking that I had to please people in order to be loved and accepted. And that's another aspect of the people pleasing that I also talked about because I used to always be that way. But now what I'm about is just really appreciating the people who see me, like flaws and all. Like, I still love you. Like, you're my friend. You are my wife. You're my mom. Like, I love you just as you are. And so, yeah, that may make, like I said in the video, that may make some of my friends uncomfortable when I'm just thanking them so much because it's not what I'm used to. I never thought that being my authentic self would warrant people continuing to love me because I didn't feel like I had that choice, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it totally makes sense because it's one of those things that when we're growing up, we want to be, and I'm using this in quotes, like the good girl,
Yes.
right? You want to be a good girl. You want your mom to say, oh, you're such a good girl because you know why? You're putting everyone else before you. And so, 20 years go by, 30 years go by, you're still doing those same things and those same roles. And then you're like, well, wait a second. What about me?
Yeah.
I'm still a person too.
Right. Exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack there, but I loved that post and I loved how it resonated with so many people.
Mm-hmm.
And the comments were great. They were like, "Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Leave those things behind.
Yeah,
those are
we're
things to
done
leave
with
behind."
that.
And we are done with that. Leave those behind in 2022.
Yes, that's right.
Moving on. If you could say what 5 things that you are proud of that you're doing now, what would those things be?
I think loving people as they are is something I'm really proud of. Loving myself as I am is something I'm really proud of. Connecting authentically with other people is something I'm proud of. Really searching deep within myself and going to counseling and trying to figure out who I really am. I'm proud of that too. And I'm just proud of me. I'm just proud of me in general. Like, can I just be selfish with saying that?
No, because we're not being selfish. We're being true to ourselves.
See, my people pleasing is coming back. See? But yeah, I'm just really proud of me. Where I am right now and what I've created, who I truly am. I now feel more comfortable in my skin.
And I'm proud of you for that, Iesha.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tara.
You should be really proud about it.
Yeah.
All right. Tell everyone where we can find you online.
Everybody, you can find me online at More Than a Mama Series on Instagram. I am on Facebook as well. You can find me on there there's no at. It's just Iesha Madden. But where you will find me posting and engaging with most is on More Than a Mama Series on Instagram.
I love it because you are more than a mama.
Yeah.
You are a full person.
Full and complete.
Full person.
Yeah.
Yes. Above and beyond being a parent or a wife or a teacher, you are a complete person.
That's right. I believe that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of Modern Mom Probs. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive in today's problem with me, your host, Tara Clark. Join me next time when I'll be interviewing another great guest and tackling another modern mom problem. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review and a rating. As always, you could head over to Modern Mom Probs on Instagram and give me a follow. Or check out my book, Modern Mom Probs, A Survival Guide for 21st Century Mothers, available online wherever books are sold. Well, that's it for today. See you next time, folks.